Welcome back to Let the Boys Watch, an entertainment podcast brought to you by Going Great Productions. Today, we're going to be talking about the 2006 Best Picture winner, The Departed, a remake of the 2002 Hong Kong thriller Infernal Affairs. Departed stars Leonardo DiCaprio, Matt Damon, Mark Wahlberg, Alec Baldwin, Martin Sheen, Jack Nicholson, Vera Farmiga, and am I forgetting anybody?
Anthony Anderson,
Anthony Anderson,
Kevin Corrigan. That's
the
probably
guy,
about it.
the guy from Shawshank Redemption,
Yeah.
and yeah, I'm one of your co-hosts. My name is Robbie. Alongside me is cousin Benny. Cousin Benny, how are you?
I'm doing good. How's your mother?
She's good. She's tired of fucking my father. Well, I got a question for you, Benny.
Yeah,
Let me see if you can answer it. Are you a fucking co-op?
maybe, maybe not. Maybe fuck yourself.
Alongside us, one of our co-hosts, our good buddy Ryan. Hey Ryan, what's a
Yes.
lace curtain motherfucker like you doing in the Stadies?
You had different accents, didn't you? You did, you little fuck. Thank you, Robbie. And I just wanted to ask you something. You want a cigarette? You don't smoke? You don't smoke? What are you, a health freak? Go fuck yourself.
Oh, I had that as a favorite quote.
That's a good
That's a
one.
great one.
So this is, like Robbie said, Let the Boys Watch, and we are talking about The Departed, a movie that Benny has never seen. So we'll be looking forward to his thoughts and analysis. Robbie, how long has it been since you've watched it?
I'm gonna say maybe 4 or 5 years.
Oh wow, okay. I think I've
It's been a
watched it
bit.
within a year or two. So a little bit more recent than you, but still great film. I'm excited to hear what Benny has to say. But before we get into any of that, just a few reminders. Please send us an email, ltbwpodcast@gmail.com. We love to hear from everybody. We got 2 last week, 2 dynamite emails last week. We'd love to get more. Also follow us, Let the Boys Watch Pod on Instagram. And we'll, have votes on what movies we're gonna watch and all other such nonsense. So I guess before we get into it, anyone else want to say anything?
Send those emails, man. We need them.
Yeah, please. We love them. We try to put out the votes and stuff like that, like letting you know what we're gonna watch before we actually record. So, it'd be nice to get emails on the movie that we're gonna watch. But we love emails on past movies as well. So feel free to send whatever you want or suggest movies for us to watch. Even though some people think we're never gonna watch them, we will eventually.
Yeah, the Atlantic Ocean isn't the only thing that's salty.
That's right. So what we usually do before we get into some other things is I want to hear some like preconceived notions, thoughts from the person who's never seen this movie. So Benny, what did you think like going into this movie, or what were people saying to you about it before you watched it?
So this is another one of those movies where I felt like I pretty much knew what I was in for. The whole one's a spy for the mob, the other one is infiltrated and is a spy for the police. I kind of knew that that's what I was getting into. So I was excited for that. I thought that it's a fun concept, and of course, because of Scorsese, it was something that I was super interested in. And then you look at the all-star cast. I mean, this is really one that when we first started talking about this podcast, I think this one came up at some point, and it's been one that I've been really looking forward to watch.
Nice. I will state my displeasure that the vote did not go the way I wanted to. I would have preferred to watch Casino, but I love this movie too. So I'm glad that this won. But Taxi Driver would have been cool too. Maybe we'll throw those in a future vote as well.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Overall impressions. Robbie, you want to start us with some overall impressions on this movie since Benny was just talking?
Yeah, I remember being very excited for this movie to come out. Obviously, it was starring some of my favorite actors, one of my favorite directors. So I remember seeing this in the theater in 2006 with a bunch of my friends and just being, in love with it. Probably one of the most shocking twists and turns and endings that I've ever been a part of in a movie experience. I love
Spoiler
that.
alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert. If you've never seen it before, turn off the pod. Mom, I'm talking to you. I just love everything. Obviously, I love everything about it. Crime drama, the director Martin Scorsese, the writing. I forgot to say by William Monahan, who won a best screenplay, I think, Academy Award for this. And yeah, I mean, I didn't have any preconceived notions because I saw it already, but I was just so happy to watch it because it involves basically everything I love about movies.
Is one of the things you love about movies bad Boston accents?
Bad Boston accents and the use of the fuck word over 230 times.
That's all right.
Wow.
I think a world record.
Yeah, I think so. Benny, what about you? Overall impressions when you watched it for the first time?
So I'm not gonna lie, I'm having a really hard time with this one as far as like my plum rating. Obviously, I know we'll get to that, but this movie was literally a mile a minute. And, I think as I'm watching more movies and TV shows and taking the time to talk about them with you guys, I'm finding myself that I like a movie that is not necessarily drawn out, but takes its time with the storytelling. And that, like, when this movie ended, Aya asked me, what did you think? And I said, I don't know. I thought it was really good. There were so many points throughout the movie that I was like, this is an awesome scene. That was a great interaction. And there was just so much story. And the way it ended for me, like, felt so quick. And I know that was the point. I know that was, probably the best way to end it. But it just felt so fast for me that I feel like this is one that I need to rewatch at some point, where I don't dislike it, but I feel like I would enjoy it more now that I've seen it once, know what to expect, and can start looking for like little things.
Yeah. No, I got you. I kind of am in the same boat. Like, I really, really like this movie a lot. But there's parts and just like nitpicks that I have with it that I feel like I don't have with some of the other movies we've watched and some of my other favorite movies. It's still, we'll talk about scores. It's still high. It still scores high. There's so much to love about it. But I always feel every time I watch it, I'm like, I don't know. There's just parts that I'm like, yeah, you could have cut that, or like that was like my especially is like that was the best take. Like there was parts where I felt like the line or the way the actor did it was like not bad, but just I was like, come on, it's fucking Jack Nicholson. This isn't reality TV. Like, what a stupid line that is. I feel like, but like, again, overall, amazing film. I love it, but I definitely nitpick it maybe more than other films that I really like, and I don't know why.
I think that the expectation I had I think when this movie came out, it was probably like not revolutionary, but was just for that time, like, wow, this is one of the greatest movies we've seen, especially from Scorsese. I think, not that I think it's going to age poorly, but I think the rest of the film industry and the rest of storytelling has caught up to where this movie is, to where I feel like there's probably movies that have done it better, but because of all the pedigree behind this movie, it's always going to be viewed as a really great movie. And it was hard for me to rank it, I think, watching it so much later on. But I agree. There's nothing I could say made this bad or I didn't like. There was just things that I felt, I don't know, didn't really hit for me.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. So
Hurts my heart. This hurts my heart to hear. This really does. I'm
I'm
upset.
not.
I might leave.
I enjoyed it.
yeah,
It was
not knocking
I
it.
just This is the first one where I feel like the reputation got to me a little bit, and I think it's because I was so excited to watch this movie. I've talked about on previous movies like Shawshank. I knew the expectation of the movie and the hype that was around it, but I kind of put that out of my head because that was never a movie that I was like, oh, at some point I need to watch that movie. Departed was, I don't understand how I went this long without seeing it because of all the things around it. Like I said, the people that were in it and involved with it. But I feel like I let the hype get to me a little bit too much.
I
Benny,
agree.
go ahead, Robbie. I'm sorry.
No, quick. You go. Ask him.
Yeah, mine's quick. Were you spoiled in any way on the ending before
No.
watching this? No. All right, good.
The absolute ending, no, I wasn't.
All right, good. Because that's like maybe the best part of the whole movie. I mean, the movie's great, but okay. Just curious. Sorry, Robbie, go ahead.
No, there was some times, and even when I previously watched it, there were some times where I was like, I mean, Jack Nicholson, tone it down a bit. He was just in like, I don't give a fuck mode the entire movie, which is fine. But I do think that DiCaprio, Wahlberg, and Damon were just throwing heat the entire movie. I think this one is probably one of Matt Damon's best performances, and I think it's in the top 3 Leonardo DiCaprio performances of all time. And just the 3 of them and the 4 of them, and so many bit players just acting so well. I thought they were just like one upping each other. Maybe I'm in the minority, but it was just great acting. Yeah, I get it was fast paced, and like DiCaprio even said that he based his character off of somebody that was just having a 24-hour panic attack the entire movie. So I understand why it was shot that way and the way it was, and a lot of fast paced action, a lot of cuts in the scene. You have 1 minute you have the Stones playing, the next minute it cuts to a different song, and then it cuts back to the Stones. So it's all over the place, but that's what I love about it, and that's what I love about maybe late Scorsese movies like Goodfellas, but like especially like Wolf of Wall Street. I just feel like the fast paced action is what I like and what kind of keeps me on my toes and like the edge of my seat while watching movies like this.
Yeah, it's frantic on purpose. And you mentioned the whole Leonardo DiCaprio thing about feeling like the character is just living in a constant panic attack, and he does such a good job relating that. And I'm not knocking the movie, really. I'm not. There was not a time that I was, hey, this is getting long. Like, honestly, by the time it ended, I was surprised that it was 2.5 hours that had gone by. So I'm not knocking the movie. I just, maybe what I'm saying is I just felt like I definitely need another rewatch, and I think I hyped it up a little too much in my head. Like, honestly, to the point where I was like, oh, this might be another 10.
All right.
Keep that point. I got to turn my iron off because I plugged it in and it's still plugged. So I'll be right back.
Okay. While he's doing that, one thing that I think also kind of bothers me, and I don't want to, I'm going to kind of slow play this because I want Robbie to hear this as well, is a little bit of the plot, maybe not the plot, but like the storyline of Leo's character, just all of a sudden, like being an integral part of this 50-year-old or however many years that Jack Nicholson's been in the game, all of a sudden, William Costigan Jr. is like his like number 3. Like I just found that a little bit hard to believe. I mean, they kind of give you like little bits of, I guess explanations, like he's Jackie's nephew, his father, like they knew stuff about him, and I get, when it comes to organized crime, family means a lot, but I just found that part to be a little hard to believe. Again, I'm not saying that it's impossible to believe, but there was a few, like they're like looking for the rat. This guy just showed up. Like,
yeah, and now all of a sudden,
like, how is this not hard to like really suss out? And I mean, I get that they, Matt Damon checked into it and he's like, it's not Bill and this and that and whatever, but like it just seemed, those pieces seemed a little tough to swallow. Same with like even Matt Damon says, as in the characters, like why the fuck is Jack Nicholson doing all this shit? Like he's the like leader of this group and he's going on like coke deals. Like what are you doing? Like
Yeah.
send your fucking underlings.
I think part of the movie was we get it from Matt Damon and Leo's point of view, but I think part of that is, yeah, maybe Leo seems like he was super important, and by all means he was, but I think what they're telling you at the end of the movie is just because you feel like you're the only one or you're the main guy, there's 50 other people like you. And that's what you see in the end when Leo gets shot, is Matt Damon, who thought he was like the guy for Jack Nicholson's character.
Right.
There's this guy writing his own, his own crew that he didn't even know about. So
Right.
while they seem or think that they're big time, there's 50 other people just like them, and maybe their sense of ego of this situation was inflated.
Yeah, could be. Just seemed pretty quick. He was going on jobs with Mr. French, who was clearly his number two.
True.
And but again, this is what they're showing us from his point of view. Who knows how many other jobs are going on during this time frame that Leo is not a part of or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, just going with what
The
I'm
only thing
presented.
is, he does say to Mark Wahlberg and Martin Sheen's character when they're down by like the dock over there that he has been in there for a year.
Oh yeah. No, I
So
know
you
it's
know,
like
no,
not like a week. Yeah, I get
it's
what
like
you're saying.
get this guy. It's 2 days. Come on, come, Mr. French.
Yeah, right. Go burn this house down.
Yeah, say hi to your mother for me.
Yeah. No, I mean I get it that more time passed than is I guess presented. But even still, even a year, I guess that's not that quick, but it seems quick. Anyway, so should we do some plum ratings? Because I'm very curious now after what Benny said. Benny, do you want to go first? Because I'm curious.
Sure, I will go first. There were two numbers that I was bouncing between, and I'm gonna go with the higher one because I think by the time we finish this episode, I'll be more comfortable with that, and I think we're gonna have a lot of laughs, and we're all gonna have wildly different opinions on who was our favorite character. Although I'll probably steal somebody's. What our
Probably.
favorite scenes were. I can't think of really truly any bad scenes off the top of my head. So it was between 8.9 and 9.1 for me. And I'm going to land on 9.1 because I am going to give it the benefit of the doubt that if I watch this movie again, I'm going to like it more. I know that for a fact. And between the cast and so many, quotable moments, so many fun action scenes, the way that everything, I do love a story that ties all, you get all these different threads, but at the end it all ties together, and you get that you have Matt Damon and Leo that don't interact the whole movie, and then you get a great scene between them, and then you get the scene on the roof between them. Although I felt like it rushed to the ending, I did love the ending, and I did like the movie, so I'll go at 9.1.
Robbie, did you give it a 10?
So I was bouncing around in my head, making ideas. And the reason why I love this movie so much is because it has my favorite actor of all time, Leonardo DiCaprio, one of my favorite directors of all time, Martin Scorsese, and one of my other favorite actors of all time, Matt Damon. I just love, like, I know you can nitpick, right? I made a mistake of nitpicking Tarantino's acting in Pulp Fiction, and even though I gave it a 9.8, I was, still devastated I didn't give it a 10, which I should have gave it a 10, and I regret that. But I just love this movie because it's a cat and mouse game. It's fast paced. You have a mole, that was brought up by Costello in Matt Damon's character in, the Boston Police Department, and then you have basically an unknown, smart fucking as a whip, police officer undercover in DiCaprio, and they're going back and forth the entire movie. And then you have Nicholson, who's the Costello, who basically is a FBI informant when you find out at the end, and he's basically playing everybody. And you got, the entire Boston Police Department trying to sniff out who's the mole in their respective units. think the writing's great. I mean, it obviously won an Academy Award. I love the way the movie ended. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. And I wanted to be Siskel and Ebert for Pulp Fiction, and I fucked up because I'm not. I'm just Dick and Dickhead, and I regret not giving it a 10. But this is in one of my favorite movies of all time, and this will get my first 10 of the podcast.
Nice. I love
Wow.
it.
Yeah, I love this movie so much.
Wow, that's hey, I love it. And don't regret your past scoring or your nitpicking.
I do, because Pulp Fiction was a 10, and it's always been a 10 for me, and I'm an idiot thinking that I'm somebody important. I'm like, well, if Tarantino's accent really didn't tweak a little bit. So I'm not doing that again.
Oh, that's what we do here, man. That's okay. But you feel however you want to feel. Like I said, I really like this movie a lot. I don't know if I'd say it's one of my favorites, but it's definitely up there. I think my score is a little bit lower than your guys, but still super high. I'm actually going to give it an 8.7. And I was kind of looking at, yeah, and I mean, I'm looking at some of the other movies that we've scored, and I'm not necessarily comparing them, but I am. So I feel like for me, it fits kind of right in between like some of the other scores, like the Shawshank 9.4, Pulp Fiction,
The infamous
the infamous 9.4. And I mean, I don't know, I'm reluctant to give out 10s, and that's fine. And you guys are, can give out 10s to whatever you want. Just like I can give whatever score I want. But I felt it fit right there. And I might regret that after we do this episode. I might think it should be higher or lower. I don't know. But for right now, I'm gonna go 8.7. Again, I love it. I'm not nitpicking it to death. There's a few things that I've already said that I didn't love. But it's just how it hits for me. It's very, very, very good. But it's not in my like favorites. Like I don't look to watch it all the time. I mean, I do kind of watch it all the time because again, it's a good movie. But yeah, so 8.7 for me.
All right.
It's so
Go ahead.
different than Shawshank and Pulp Fiction, because we were so kind of similar, a couple of points here and there, but yeah, 8.7.
Yeah. And I'm not saying like, we can these are apples to apples. Like we can say that Pulp Fiction got a 9.5, or Fight Club got an 8.4, like whatever for my scores. I'm looking at it kind of like from the movies that I like, not like I'm trying not to do it where it's like yeah, it won an Oscar, but like I shouldn't let that affect how I think about it. I'm just going by like movies that I want to watch is like, the closer to 10 it gets is the more I want to rewatch a movie, and the further away from 10 is the least or less I want to rewatch it. I don't know. It's the more movies we score, the harder it is for me to even understand what I'm doing in my own brain when it comes to scoring.
I'm trying so hard not to reference my other scores, because now that I gave this 9.1, I feel like I've given other movies in the nines, even though we haven't done a few. And I don't know if I necessarily regret them, because I do want to have a more wide range on my scale. So I think this is, a little bit, it's how I feel in the moment. And I think eventually my scale I'll get more comfortable in. So, for that reason, I did want to go a little higher just out of respect for the movie. But I do want 9.1 for me to mean something like good and like really good. Not necessarily to your scale, Ryan, where it's a little bit more depressed, but I do want a little bit more wider range in my scale.
Well, I am a little more depressed than you, so
we can have another podcast about that.
Yeah, I know a good. I know a good shrink. She's
That might be a 10-part episode of the Battle of Wits to see who can
right.
to reign
Is that
supreme in that.
Robbie? Is that shrink gonna refer me to another doctor and then sleep with me?
yeah,
All right.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Give me your number.
That's the one.
Yeah, but don't tell my wife.
I won't.
But I was just kind of thinking, like, what we could always do in the future after we review a bunch of movies is like go back and change scores. Like, it's our fucking scores. We do whatever we want. And if we realize that we like skewed it too far one way or the other, who cares? It's our fucking show. We'll do what we want.
We can re-rank.
Yeah. So yeah. Good scores. Good scores. Should we get into the movie proper a little bit, or is anything else with scoring or overall impressions?
I don't think so.
All right. Who wants to start with favorite characters this week? I'll start. I don't care. And I think I'm gonna pick a character that probably is an unlikely pick. And of course, fucking like Robbie already said, Leo, Matt Damon, Jack Nicholson, Mr. French, all these characters, Alec Baldwin, like all these characters, Dignam, like amazing. They were all amazing, but for some reason, I really, really love Queenan. I love Martin Sheen in this movie.
He was great, man.
Right? He's such like he's kind of like the straight man. He's just even keel the whole time. And I love the part when Leo shows up at his house and he's like fucking dad Queenan. He's like, you want something to eat? Here's some water. Like, I almost thought he was gonna hug him. Because like they're not at work, or I should say they're not at the office or whatever. I just really love Queenan. I love Martin Sheen's performance in this movie. But again, probably everyone you guys pick, amazing. There's so many good actors in this movie that it's hard to just pick one. But I went with Queenan.
You know why I
liked
processes. Micro processes. You know what my real favorite character is? The accent of Boston.
The accents. Yeah. You know what I really liked about his character too? Because you had that duel between Leo and Matt Damon, I felt like you were going to get the same thing from Queenan and Dignam, where Dignam was such an asshole and he was going to end up being the straight cop all along. And Queenan, because he was so like, laid back and relaxed, that he was actually going to be involved with the mob too. So when, he ultimately meets his end and you realize, well, I realized that there was no twist there. It made me respect and like his character more because you respect the man and you respect the way he handled the whole situation.
Yeah, I mean, he protected Leo till the end. He basically knew he was either going to die or something very bad was going to happen to him. And he's like, get the fuck out of here. I'll take care of this.
Yeah, I loved his character in this movie. He was definitely one of my honorary mentions. He was like a father figure. Definitely a father presence. I just loved, just every scene he was in and just how he acted the part. It was just a great, acted part by Martin Sheen. And I loved it.
Yeah. And I love that you brought up Dignam and, Mark Wahlberg, like the sort of good cop, bad cop thing that they were doing. I loved. And then it turns out that like you said, like you thought maybe one of them might be involved with the mob or something. But then it turned out like Dignam was, even though he was a fucking asshole, in the end, he was, I don't know if revenge stood up for whatever, was the good guy when he took care of Matt Damon.
I have a point about him too. I'll let Robbie do his pick first though, because I don't want, if it's his pick, I don't want to step all over it. But
yeah, let's do.
I do want to bring.
Go ahead, Benny. I got a plethora, so you can go.
Oh well, I was just gonna say about Dignam, like, even though he was like outwardly an asshole, was he really ever? Did he ever do anything with his action? Like he was a dick and like wise ass to their faces, but
Right.
when him and Leo got into that fight, he took the punch and kind of like he freaked out a little bit, but it's not like he was like, I'm gonna fucking do this, 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 and this to you now because
Yeah.
you disrespected me. So I don't know. I think part of it was an act from him just to get the best out of Leo. Um, and obviously he just hates the feds, but he was a dick, but I don't necessarily think he was ever really a bad guy.
Yeah, there was two parts. I think when he was on the phone with Leo, and he was being a hard ass, but he was also being, compassionate, and I feel like vulnerable in some kind of in on these phone conversations with Leo. So yeah, he was a dick, but he also had that side where, like you said, Ben, he was trying to get the best out of Leo and kind of maybe be there for him to not really like snap and just fucking lose it and just continue the mission that they were on. So yeah, he was an asshole, hard headed, and I loved him, but he definitely had a soft side and was protecting Leo's character.
You want me to pick my guy, or do you want to go?
No, go ahead, pick.
Well, I've gone chalk for the last couple of movies, so let me go ahead and steal Robbie's pick and say that my favorite character was Alec Baldwin as Ellerby because he's in the movie so little, but he just steals the fucking show every time.
He
Every line
does.
he has hits. He's just that whole pompous attitude that he has about him. He reminds me a little bit of his character in Along Came Polly, where
Yeah.
he's just in the movie for such a short amount of time, but everything he says is quotable. He's just funny. He lightens the mood in a lot of these scenes, like whether he's trying to be funny or not. He's just, I don't know. He was just such a great character, and in a cast of so many people that are scene stealers, like he still stole the show when he was in it with pretty much any one of those guys.
I have an immaculate record.
You didn't steal my pick. He was
Good.
definitely an Ani Mensch. If I may read some Ellerby quotes, or
Yeah, oh, please.
Please.
okay, he says, in the driving range with Matt Damon. But I don't know if I can say the word that he says, so I'll blank it
Yeah, you
out.
could say it. It's
All
a
right.
quote.
All right. So he says, marriage is an important part of getting ahead. It lets people know you're not a homo. A married guy seems more stable. People see the ring, they think at least somebody can stand a son of a bitch. Ladies see the ring, they know immediately that you must have some cash and your cock must work. And then David goes, it's working overtime.
Overtime. And what's funny is his dick wasn't working.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. And then, Ryan, I think you said it before. This is my favorite quote, I think, of the entire movie, because he just fucking comes in blazing and then just leaves blazing. It's in the microprocessor scene, like you said. He says, sorry, keep you up. I'll keep you last minute, but things leaked. This lead came from Queen as an undercover guy. I'm going for a smoke right now. You want to smoke? You don't smoke, do you? What do you want, them fitness freaks? Huh? Go fuck yourself. And he's out. And then I don't even think Damon had time to process what he said, because he immediately goes to his phone and doesn't even
Yeah.
fucking acknowledge him.
Yeah.
But
do you have the quote too of when he comes in from the gift that we sent earlier today?
I don't. I
Oh,
was
but
trying
when
to find
he comes in grabbing his balls and he's like, let's fucking go.
Yeah.
and then when he
Patriot Act.
yeah, when he like choke holds fucking Anthony Anderson, Patriot Act.
I do love that he's just crushing beers at the driving range.
Yeah.
He's good, man. He
Some
was
people don't
fucking
trust an
great.
immaculate record. I have an immaculate record.
He well, I mean, Alec Baldwin's a psychopath, but he's so great in this movie, man.
Yeah, agree.
Sorry, as I get my saliva back. I go chalk. My favorite character in this movie is William Costigan, Leonardo DiCaprio. I just love the way Leo plays this guy, just like a manic, absolute lunatic. Doesn't know what side he's on. Well, he knows what side he's on, but basically just slowly losing his mind throughout the course of this movie. And like DiCaprio says, he played this guy like he was basically having a 24-hour panic attack, and that's how he played him. He's paranoid. He thought he was going to die at any minute, and that's he just basically spoke about death the entire movie. But I mean, it's just DiCaprio. The dude is just top notch all time. Just always crushes his performances. And again, I don't think he did anything like this. Maybe up until The Departed, I'm not too sure. I mean, I know he played like a drug addict in Basketball Diaries and whatever he was in Titanic, but he was just nonstop the entire time, and he made Costigan so believable, and you felt for the guy. You felt how paranoid he was. He was basically getting shit the entire movie from everybody, from Mark Wahlberg's character to Mr. French to Frank Costello. He was just getting his shit pushed in the entire movie and took it. But he met his own timely demise at the end. But I just really love the way this character was portrayed and acted and written for DiCaprio. It was a great performance.
Agree.
Again too, like I know this is how the movie, it makes sense for the movie. It was the right choice, but I just hate that he didn't get some type of happy ending, because like you said, he was just going through it the whole entire movie. Like every time he turned around, something was fucked. Like it looked worse and worse for him as the movie was going on. Like he was never going to get out of this alive. Obviously he didn't. But I was just hoping, once he set that plan in action to release all the evidence of Colin, that he was going to get some type of happy ending. And I guess he does post-mortem, but, I just wish he was still around for that.
Yeah, that was, I mean, wow, well, I'm sure we'll talk about that during scenes. But yeah, that I agree. It would have been nice, but the movie is better because of the fact that he didn't get that happy ending.
So the only happy ending I could see he gets out of it is, they never really heavily imply it, but the kid is his, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, at least that's like the one he gets to quote unquote live on. But yeah,
Yeah.
You just feel bad for him the whole movie. I mean, he definitely, took the part. Obviously, he took the job, but you just feel bad for him the entire movie, and you just see him going through so many different sets of emotions, especially with Madeline and Frank and Dingham and Queenan, and it's just like I said, you feel for the guy, and you want him to get his happy ending, but he doesn't. But I think that's what makes the movie so good for me, because that's not life. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? And there's so many fucking fairy tales in Hollywood and shit like that. And, to see that, it sucked. It was horrible. It was a shock, but it is the reality of life sometimes.
Yeah. And then, I mean, obviously we'll throw out the Ani mention of Matt Damon, because he's our guy, number one. And number two,
Yeah.
just plays such a hateable prick in this movie. Like, so fucking egotistical the whole time. And it never lets up from the beginning to the end. There's no redeeming factor. Like, the scenes between him and his girlfriend are kind of light, but all the darkness behind him. So kudos to him for a guy that we love, we could hate so much.
Yeah. And the
Real
scenes with
piece of
his
shit.
girlfriend. Oh, go ahead.
No, I said real piece of shit.
Oh yeah. You mentioned the scenes with the girlfriend, like that relationship was fucking terrible. Like
Oh my God, it was the fucking worst.
everything about it just seemed like awful and cringy and corny. Like it didn't seem real. Like from their first date to every conversation they had when they were living with each other, like just seemed like on Damon's side, like completely forced and fake. And I mean, which makes sense because he's hiding the fact that he's a rat.
Yeah.
But all that stress gonna make your dick not work. So
It was like you said, the chemistry between them in that first date was good, but I don't even want to say he was cringy, but he was such a fucking stuck up piece of shit during that scene that I wanted to crumble that whatever that
no
French
duck
dessert
l'orange.
was. Yeah,
The
like
fuck
shut
outta
the
here.
fuck up. No duck l'orange.
He's
Be a
trying to
dick.
trying to impress his date, but like, yeah, it came across like so lame.
He plays such good dicks like Will Hunting and Talented Mr. Ripley. And he's just good at playing a piece of shit. It's like a basically a legit Boston fucking uppity piece of shit.
And I mean, while we're here, it would be remiss not to talk about Jack Nicholson, at least for a little bit, because I don't think he's making anybody's least favorite. Ryan, what did you think about Jack in this movie? Oh, should we move on?
Maybe.
Oh no! Why do I always do this?
Okay.
Did we give Ani Mensch Dingham,
Yeah.
obviously a fucking absolute menace throughout the whole entire movie. I fucking loved Mark Wahlberg's character.
Oh, of course.
And like, I think Ryan, you mentioned a bunch of times, like throughout some of these movies that we've talked about, like I bring some of these quotes in my everyday life, or I'd say this once a week. I throw that maybe not, maybe fuck yourself, GIF every single week. It doesn't matter what it is. I say that every single week to somebody. I'll send it to Brian at least 4 times a week when he says something. It's just the greatest thing. He comes in like a fucking tornado, causes a fucking complete mess, and then is gone in a millisecond.
Yeah, he's fantastic. And I just love the ending shot of him, like him being the one that finally ends it all and gets their vengeance for everybody.
Yeah.
Ben, who did you think it was when he walked in, when Matt Damon looked shocked?
I thought it was someone coming to arrest him. I thought it was a cop coming to arrest him. I didn't know it was going to be him. And I was even more shocked when he actually did pull the trigger and kill him. So, as frantic as the ending was, I thought it was a fitting end.
I didn't get about that is why did he put the hat on after he shot him? Like, wouldn't you wear the hat the whole time so like your hair doesn't fly around?
It's Boston, babe. It's cold out. You got to get ready to go outside.
I guess.
Yeah. He's getting a coffee in Beacon Hill.
Yeah. No, but agree. Like Dignam was awesome. Mark Wahlberg, awesome. I also want to just quick Ani mention Mr. French. Loved him in this film. Fantastic character and just a I don't know, a great number 2 to Jack Nicholson. I mean he did when they're all fucked up and they're talking, he's like, I'm reliable. He's like, your wife wasn't reliable. It's like, well, she got reliable. It's just like, it's just great scene. But I love the character, the whole, this is a guy. He's not a guy you can't hit, but he's almost a guy you can't hit. Like that, that kind of shit. Just so good.
All right, Peter French.
I have
Did he die?
Quotes
in the movie?
Yeah.
Oh, in the movie. I thought you meant the actor. Yeah. Ray Winstone. Great part.
Fun fact, Dingham quotes, but here's a fun fact. Mr. French was supposed to be what's his name in The Wire? Who's Dominic West's character?
Perk? Oh no, McNulty.
Yeah, McNulty.
Really? I would not have liked that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you turn it down now.
It's good.
Dingham quotes. Obviously, maybe not, maybe fuck yourself. I hopefully nobody passed me today at work because I was copying and pasting departed quotes on my computer. So I'm the guy who does his job. He must be the other guy. Fantastic fucking scene. And my favorite, Benny, as you mentioned in the beginning, when he barges into the meeting with Ellerby and the team, and he goes, "My people are out there. They're like fucking Indians. You're not going to see them. You're not going to hear about them except for me or Captain Queenan. You will never not know the identity of undercover people. Unfortunately, this shithole has more fucking leaks than the Iraqi Navy." And Ellerby says, "Fuck yourself." And then Dingham, "I'm tired from fucking your wife." Ellerby, "How's your mother?" Dingham, "Good. She's tired from fucking my father." And then he leaves. And then I forgot what Ellerby says.
It's like he's usually a very nice guy.
Yeah.
Like that.
The chemistry between those two and the scenes between those are probably the most rewatchable scenes of the entire movie.
Yeah, I also love the scene with him and Matt Damon. When we mentioned it before. But when I forget who says he's like, "Suck my dick," and he's like, "Well, it's not a promotion in that," or something like that.
Yeah.
To Matt Damon. So good. But yeah, and then the scene where they're fucking fighting and he gets tossed. So good. Any other Ani mentions before we move on?
Well, let's move on. We don't need this to be 5 hours.
No. Um, so least favorite character. Who just went last? You're going first.
Robbie.
My least favorite character is the head Chinese guy in the microprocessor scene.
He went so hard. Like, why was he going so hard?
That's what I'm saying. I'm thinking to myself, like, dude, what? Like, chill out. Like, nothing's going on right now. What are you screaming for?
I
Like,
can't believe you stole that.
I'm so fucking happy I still up because it's about fucking time.
Good.
In the words of James Brown, payback. But yeah, like you're saying, right? Like I was like, all right, my guy, what are we freaking the fuck out about? We just got here. Like, what are you
Chill
screaming
out.
about, cursing about? You got fucking machetes, you got machine guns, you got bazookas. Just take the microprocessors and get the fuck out of here. I don't understand why he was just freaking out the entire time. I needed you to be a little bit more calm, especially during such an intense scene with a lot of cash involved and a lot of technology being switched from hand to hand. So just chill out, lead Chinese guy who I don't know your name, but chill the fuck out.
Well, the way it works in this country is I give you the product and you give me the money. That's all he needed to know.
That's it.
Just relax.
No, what do you say? No ticky ticky. No what the fucky fucky.
No laundry.
Yeah, no laundry.
Oh yeah, no ticky, no laundry.
Yeah.
My least favorite. I can't believe you stole that. I thought I was really in the clear on that one. So I'm gonna switch it up to my least favorite character was the guy that fucking forgot to install the cameras on the back of the building. What are you doing? You had one
There's a
job.
back.
You had one friggin' job. And my poor guy Ellerby, man, he thought he had his mark. He thought he was closing the deal, and you fucked him. So I'm glad you got punched in the face by Alec Baldwin. You deserved it.
Oh,
And
who the fuck are you?
and that was an example of sped up slow motion, which I fucking hate. I don't know if you guys
Yeah,
noticed that when he
I
punched
did.
him, it was like, come on. So I alluded to before, my least favorite character is actually Jack Nicholson as Costello. And
Wow.
while I love him in a lot of scenes in this movie, you guys brought up one scene that bothers me when he just keeps he's yelling too in this country, and he's so demonstrative with his fucking like actions. Like it just, I don't know why, but it just bothers me. It don't add interest to your dick. Like, but the scenes when he is calmer, like the scene when they're at the diner with William and he's talking about his family, when he's talking with Mr. French, I had said it before, when he's talking about, the rat and like whatever, but all the scenes where he's over the top just grate on me a little bit. And I'm saying he's my least favorite character. There's not a lot of choices in this movie because there's a lot of good characters in this film. So that's why I went with him. Again, like I said it before, this ain't reality TV. Like that's such a stupid line. Like who approved that line?
I almost think that character would have been better served the way he played it in scenes like when they have the flashback of them killing the girl or the guy on the
Yeah,
beach, and he's
he
like,
felt funny.
she felt funny, and he's
Yeah,
just like a calm psychopath, and
right.
like that's the feeling that you got with the conversation he's having with Leo when Leo thinks he finally found out that he's the rat, and he's just so menacing, but not like
Over the top.
over the top and angry, and like that's when he's the most scary, quote unquote, as that character is when it's the threat of him freaking out, and
Yeah.
the fact that when he does freak out, it's so over the top, almost like it almost feels like a multiple personalities thing, like a kind of a Joker type thing where he can just lose all control and be psychotic, but then he also has that scheming and like evil side to him where, you know, he's reserved. So I feel like the character would have been better if it was more on that like quiet psychotic.
Yeah. And I mean, hey, he was the Joker. So good
Right.
call. But yeah, like even the scene when he's trying to suss out William and he comes out blood all over him and he's just like, some people don't give the right answers. Hey, we're gonna use a new crew. Hey, Jimmy, get a mop. Like his demeanor and the way he was delivering his lines in that film was agree like so menacing, but he wasn't like screaming and yelling and fucking trying to be tough. Like he just was a fucking psychopath.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was just like, I agree. He almost made my least favorite because there's some things I'm like, you're just way over the top. And I know he had tons and tons of, freedom with this movie
Yeah,
just to be in it. Like he basically did whatever he wanted.
he did a
But
lot
like
of what's the word?
Improv.
improvisation.
Improv. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but like even the scene where he's just like eating lobster in the morning and then just taking the hand out. I'm like,
Yeah.
even though like, Mr. French was like, I thought it was really nice that you asked him what hand he jerked off with.
Yeah.
And I think that's what he said, but just to cut his hand off and he took the ring. It's just like, you're out of control. Even the gnawing rat scene where he's just like drawing and then like lights the fucking thing on fire. I think said he spit the wine out
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, you act like a fucking lunatic. I know he's a lunatic, but you're acting like a fucking madman and like chill out.
Yeah.
Especially if it's like based off of like Whitey. I don't know who Whitey Bulger, how he acted, but I'm sure he wasn't a fucking crazy fucking psychopath. He was, but not like his demeanor probably wasn't like that. But what
Yeah.
the fuck do I know? I don't know anything.
It felt very it felt very put on. Like, you know, like it was almost forced that he was acting that way. But
Yeah. But again, overall, I love the character. He was great in most of his scenes. Like even the scene when Dignam and Queenan show up by the water and they're just like, we're the real microprocessors. And he's just like, they were fucking light switches or something. Like
yeah.
just like that kind of stuff I loved. But the over the top parts made me choose him as least favorite.
Can I get Ani Mensch?
Please.
Yeah.
Madeline, you are the world's worst fucking psychiatrist. What are you doing? All that schooling, all like you're a doctor. What the fuck what's her deal? Please, somebody on this smart panel of my friends, please tell me what is a psychiatrist doing with an actual sociopath, right? In Matt Damon's character and in Colin, and a fucking lunatic, probably off his rocker, losing his mind. William Costigan and Leo's character, like, what's the attraction? Didn't she study these people in school?
Just because you are a psychiatrist does not mean you don't have mental problems.
Also true.
That's true.
And I think she definitely has her own, because she definitely wants the bad boy. She wants the brash guy, and she can't help herself.
Sorry if you don't like
Ryan?
it. I forget what she says to him. Does that meet your goddamn standards? Like the way when she's like outside. No, I agree. Like I liked her character a lot. But if she was an actual psychiatrist, I would not want to be one of her patients.
No, she would
Let's stay with you. The way Leo turned it on her, you had an alcoholic father, and she's like, "Well, did you?" He's like, "No." Let's stay with you.
Well, it's a little smash and dash. She was smashing and dashing at both of them.
You don't have any cats? That's good. Like that's the pickup line. That's the line that gets her into bed. Okay.
That's
Yeah.
why I'm going to use that because I
You
hate
should.
cats.
Yeah. All right. Should we do least or favorite scene first?
Let's go least favorite.
Yeah, good idea. You want to kick us off, Robbie?
You know it because I got a fucking doozy of a scene.
Please.
My least favorite scene is the opera / Coke scene that
So
Nicholson does.
stupid.
It's this. He's in the opera. He's hanging out in the opera. Fantastic. Cuts to him just taking a pound of
Want some Coke?
yeah, want some Coke. Takes the fucking pound of bread flour, throws it like Nolan Ryan across this fucking girl's probably butt cheeks, and just sprinkles it up in the air, and then end scene, cut, goodbye, we're done. I'm like, what was that? I'm like, Scorsese. I'm like, I know you wanted Nicholson in this movie, but don't give him all this fucking freedom. Uh that was his idea. That was all Nicholson's idea. He said he wanted one white girl, one black girl in between him, and then the coke scene. I'm like, dude, you're a 70 fucking year old lunatic. Like, what are you thinking? That was the stupidest scene in the entire movie.
Good choice.
Good choice.
Great choice.
We already mentioned it, but my least favorite scene was the microprocessor money drop between Nicholson and the guy we mentioned already, them yelling at each other. I did not like it. I mean, I loved the other part of the scene with the agents and the cops in the warehouse and stuff. That was great. But yeah, that interaction, not a fan.
Well, I mean, you guys took two of the easiest ones and two of the ones that I had earmarked. So I'm reaching a little bit here, and I'm going to go Queenan's death, because it just felt like all those people were so close, and they saw what happened, and they let the guys get, yeah, there is that shootout, but they never react. It just felt the most unrealistic of all the scenes to me, in a very, obviously highly unrealistic movie. But to me, it just felt like it was very plot convenient that nobody reacted the way that people would react in that scene. Like, you just saw a guy fall, that there's a cop in there. I mean, don't you think someone would go check it out, and there wouldn't have been like a bigger shootout or anything like that? So that was the one scene for me that kind of like just felt super unrealistic.
Yeah, like I get that. Like, you're just gonna take Matt Damon's order and not go in there after you see, you know, uh police officer, detective, whatever he was, just in there, and a couple of gangsters are going up there to meet him. Like, you're just gonna let that happen. So I understand what you're saying. That is kind of stupid.
Yeah. Any thoughts, Ryan?
Yeah, no, I agree. Sorry, I was just standing up. I've been sitting all day. I agree. I get what, chain of command, Matt Damon's their boss, and he's telling them stay in the car because they're just observing. But like, yeah, you saw a body fly off of a roof, and maybe the way they were saying it seemed like they didn't know who it was, which is fine. But like, yeah, come on, get your ass out of the car right away and see what's going on.
And especially like how clueless they all were. Like, oh, what was that? Like, I don't know what I just saw fall out of a window
I
and
also
splat
thought
on the ground.
Right. I also thought it was like kind of hasty for them to kill Queenan in the first place. Like they're looking for the rat, fine. But wouldn't they, I don't know, like try and question him or torture him more? Like, plus he's a captain in the police department. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I know they were all underlings, and I'm sure if French or Costello were there, they probably wouldn't have killed him, because that just brings all types of heat down on their crew. But like, I don't know, it just kind of seemed, I mean, it was good for the story, good for the plot, like you said, but yeah, I don't know, it just seemed a little hasty that it was like, where's your boy, and then they just threw him off the roof.
See ya.
Any Ani mentions for that, or should we move on?
No, there wasn't really a ton for me to pick out, honestly.
Maybe Madeline prescribing DiCaprio only two pills.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right. So then, favorite scene. Benny, you went last, I think. So you go first.
Okay. I'm gonna go with the aforementioned scene underneath the bridge with Queenan, Leo, and Marky Mark. I love that scene. I love Leo just like completely like breaking down, and you see how this is all wearing on him. I love the fight between the two of them, and how they just keep poking at each other, and Mark Wahlberg doesn't let up and just keeps poking him and poking him. And then, like I said, I just thought it said a lot for his character when they do get back into the car, and instead of I want to use his character name, instead of Dignam freaking out, he like understands kind of what he's going through, and he knows that he pushed it too far, and that's why he got punched. It wasn't, he wasn't really gonna to fuck over Leo. So I just like that scene. I just thought it was great acting by the three of them.
How about I fucking kill you?
Yeah, smacking a cup out of his hand. I love that.
Yeah. One thing about that scene I didn't like, and I don't know why, is the line that Leo says, "You gonna chop me up and feed me to the poor?" I don't know why I don't like it. I just don't like it. I just feel like there's probably a better way to say what he was trying to convey. Chop me up and feed me to the poor. This is a tough one to pick a favorite scene because there is so many. I mean, any scene with Dignam just going at somebody, Alec Baldwin, all these scenes. I particularly love the scene when they're first interviewing Leo. But I'm gonna go with it's my favorite scene, but it's like the suckiest scene is when Leo gets shot walking out of the elevator. I mean, it's when I first saw that was just like, holy shit, like
Yeah.
extremely shocking because like you said before, Benny, you're hoping for this happy ending and maybe it's not going to be all sunshine and rainbows, but some kind of positive resolution for Leo, whether it's just arresting Matt Damon or Sullivan or whatever, getting together with Madeline, who knows. But yeah, when he got shot, that was like maybe one of the biggest shock like plot twists in a movie, maybe ever, like that I've seen. It was so good because it was so abrupt, and it was just like, holy fucking shit! Like you really thought Leo fucking had him. He's got him, and Matt Damon is at his lowest. Just fucking kill me.
Yeah.
And then just bang, and then Matt Damon, gets it, shoots the other guy because he finds out that he was also a rat to Costello. Like, holy shit, so good, so good.
Yeah, to me,
Ben,
like the thing. Go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, how did that scene, that when that elevator door opened, like, how did that play for you?
Well, perfect, because that's what I was going to go into. But to me, like, I understand it. I understand, like I said, the main theme of like these guys thinking that they're way more important and they're the only one, and that's not true. It just, to me, it sucked that it was this cat. Like, you knew nothing about this character that ends up killing him, and again, that's the point. But to me, it was just like, ah, fuck, that sucks. Like, of all the people to do it, it's this guy. And again, like you were mentioning earlier, Robbie, like that's just life sometimes. Like, I'm not that you're gonna get shot in the head, but it's always the least expected thing or not exactly what you're expecting, and that's what makes it a good twist. But that was the one thing where, because that happens right at the end of the movie, I think that's why when I asked how I felt, and I was like, I got to think about it. It was to me that it just felt unsatisfying for that random dude to be the one that pulls the trigger on Leo.
Yeah. Fucking cool. Who the fuck? What was his name?
I don't
He
even
stunk.
know.
Man, hold on.
Fucking firefighters. That's the first time they got fucking put.
Yeah, I don't know.
Barragan. I think this is him.
The first time they got pussy, and what does he say? That's a great line.
In the history of fire or pussy.
Fuck
you.
Fucking homo.
Fuck you.
Fuck yo. Cocksucker.
Fuck you, you fucking cocksucker.
That's a great scene. That's such a greatly acted scene between the both of them. Damon just losing his shit.
And then it's great because Alec Baldwin walks in and just fucking controls the scene.
Yeah.
And
looking good.
What does he tell him, Robbie?
Well, there's plenty of bartenders.
2 weeks with pay. Yeah, I mean, we don't really have a place for this to fit, but the accent is, I mean, I said it before, like some people were a little over the top, but like, my goodness, it's so good in this movie. Just the way so many people say things, amazing. I fucking love the Boston accent. I love
Yeah,
this movie with it.
it's great. You got Wahlberg just dialing it in, real Southie type accent, going back to his roots, and then Damon. I mean, it's just Damon. What can I say? He's the fucking best.
Did everyone do their favorite scene or no?
Well, took my favorite scene. That was my first scene at the end
Oh, I'm
with
sorry.
no, it's all right, please. It's that was my favorite scene because it's just finally you get to see Matt Damon and DiCaprio and just Damon squealing every fucking 5 minutes and my favorite is when DiCaprio punches him like 4 times in a row. He's like, "Shut the fuck up."
I
But
love about Leo in that scene is like he's like cleaned up. Like he's got like new clothes on and like new kicks and everything. Like you're just like, oh shit, look at Leo, looking good.
man on the street, he's a man on the street, redemption. He's ready to go, and then fucking see you later.
Yeah.
Um, but my favorite scene on my Ani Mensch would have to actually it's not my Ani Mensch. My favorite scene now would have to be the microprocessor scene, the lead up to it. It's so like we just said the quote from Ellerby before. It's just so great how everybody just is in that room together. I love that scene. It's very tense. Everybody's freaking out because the camera guy's fucking up. Matt Damon's a little fucking snake in that scene. There's no fucking possible way he's
No,
making that text
no,
message
not a
with that
chance.
phone in his pants pocket.
With that
Absolutely fucking
T9
not.
shit, get
Yeah.
out of
I
here.
was gonna say that was one of the more believable things for me because I remember when I had one of those phones and I could text under the desk with the T9 and not look at the phone.
Bullshit.
Bro, T9 was legit. Once you I would have to, okay, what I will give him not credit for is I had to look at find the person
Right.
and open the text message. But I mean, if he's listened, he's living this life where he's undercover, so he's got to know how to get to Costello real quick. So, but the T9 no look I gave it, honestly, it was going to be an 8.9. That's what brought it to 9.1 was the
All right.
T9 texting.
The flip
All right,
phone.
I take that back. But yeah, I just love the tense nature of that scene. I love the humor in that scene. I love Alec Baldwin just losing his shit in that scene. He's fucking dripping of absolute sweat.
Yeah.
He's got his shirt is just every fucking time they cut to him, the shirt gets wetter and wetter. Wahlberg losing his shit. Damon again being a sneak. Queen and communicating with DiCaprio. I just thought it was a great scene to get everybody in there together, and I just thought it was well acted. I love a nice little tense scene where you don't know what's about to happen, and then yeah,
Please
that's
don't
my
tell me those cars drove away by themselves.
that would be my second favorite scene, obviously with DiCaprio and Damon meeting on the rooftop.
Hmm.
Great scene.
Any other Ani mentions from anybody?
I'll give the the conversation between Leo and Matt Damon in Matt Damon's office right before Leo discovers the envelope on the desk. Like that was just such a tense scene between the two of them because it almost feels like Colin's gonna let him go. Like he's like, my hands are clean now. Like he can,
Right.
I'll get him processed and I never have to worry about that. He doesn't suspect me. I know the situation, but I think I'm good now. And then just how it unravels from there to the end of the movie. I like that scene, just the tension between the two of them.
I don't like when he says this computer's going all bluey on me. That was the line. Come on.
Because he's just so corny. Like that's
He's
what I
so
kind of
corny.
yeah.
Hi,
Brian, come on,
Darlene.
don't be nitpicking these scenes, these writing scenes. Come on,
Don't tell me how to live my life.
come on. There's some. If I can go back to the chalkboard and see some of these scores and some of these scenes that weren't written well, come on, don't be nitpicking, boy.
What are you talking about? That's what this whole show is.
No, I'm saying there's some movies that have some duty dialogue.
Oh, of course.
Like Vicini's dialogue.
No,
Like
perfect
Tiny
dialogue.
Less's dialogue.
Perfect.
Ani mensch that I have is the cranberry juice scene.
That's a good one. Yeah.
It was a natural diuretic. My girlfriend drinks it on a period. Gonna get your period?
Yeah, and then when French asked him, I lost it.
Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah.
What
French
is
is
it?
so great.
Period? Yeah.
Um,
I know you,
like you said, there's a guy you can't hit. There's guys you can hit and the guys you can't hit. He's not a guy that you can hit or some shit like
but he's
that.
almost a guy you can't hit. I'm gonna make a
And then
ruling right now. And then he's the other guy. It just goes, and then French just fucking unloads on him.
Yeah.
Was Costello's girlfriend the girl in the deli?
I think
I
so.
thought
Yeah.
that, but it's not.
It's not.
Oh, okay,
It's
because I figured they
not.
both.
Because
I
that's
felt like that's what they were implying in the beginning of the movie.
unless she changes her name from Carmen to Gwen, because
Ah.
Carmen is the girl in the deli and Gwen is his
Gotcha.
girlfriend. But
You know,
I feel like they sort of alluded to that.
you know what? I thought was a good calm psychopath scene from Costello was when he fucking takes the cast off Leo.
Yeah.
Like just how calm
Yeah.
he is about that whole thing. Like that was the guy that I wanted him to be the
Yeah.
whole entire movie.
Like he's even yelling in that scene, but that was so to me that was so believable. You gonna stop doing deals with your jerk off cousin?
Yeah.
Are you a cop? What? Okay.
I could have done with that. Like, I didn't understand like the opening scene of the movie. Like that didn't need to be in there.
What
I didn't get that.
the opening scene with at the deli?
No, with like just the cutting of like clips of like
Oh
old
yeah,
Boston
yeah.
and like the
Yeah,
busing situation. Like I don't understand that.
like it almost seemed like if you just watched the opening scene, it almost seemed like the movie was gonna be like a social commentary on Boston during this time period. Yeah, like it wasn't like enough to give you that feeling. Yeah, I agree.
It
I don't
didn't
know.
really make sense to the movie and the plot of it, so I don't know why it was in there. They could have cut that out and saved about 10 minutes, but I didn't understand that.
Agree.
It was weird to me. But
Yeah. So great transition, Robbie. Is that what you would do to make it better? Is cut out that first couple minutes?
you know what? I totally forgot about this segment of the show, and I had nothing but thank you, Ryan. Yes. I would cut out the first 10 minutes of this movie because it makes no sense. I don't know what busing and the busing crisis in Boston and obviously the racism that is running rampant in Boston has to do with this movie. Like you said, it was almost like a social commentary. I didn't understand the reason of having that clip in there, how that tied to the rest of the movie. So I think that if it was a social commentary movie, I'd understand why it was there, but I don't know why it was put into the opening credits and then just transitioned to Frank Costello. It was just confusing to me.
Yeah. I mean, I think they kind of like sort of dabble in it when like Costello's talking with the young Sullivan. But yeah, like it just wasn't enough to like they set the scene of the relationship between Costello and Sullivan, but they didn't really expand on that first couple minutes and like maybe Costello's like early years or something. Maybe there's stuff on the cutting room floor and we just like whatever, but I don't know.
Yeah, they could have maybe dropped a few racist rants in the beginning
Yeah,
as well.
probably could have got rid of it. Yeah, probably could have got
Yeah,
rid of
they
it.
made those. Yeah, so that could have stopped too.
Um,
But thank you because that's the only thing I didn't have for the movie.
see, you're insulted me before, but I still got you back
Just a
no
little
matter
bit.
what.
Assault you a little bit.
A little bit.
A little bit.
I would say, I mean, again, I know my rating is lower than your guys, but there's not a lot bad about this movie. I think my biggest gripe again is just some of the scenes where Nicholson is like too over the top. So if there was a way to either cut that out or like maybe tone it down just a little bit more to the quiet psychopath, then maybe this would be better for me. But again, it's 8.7's, as they would say in Boston, wicked high.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would go with the same thing. I just like maybe not give Jack Nicholson so much freedom with the character. Like, I know that was probably a selling point for him to take the role. And, I'm sure Scorsese thought it was a good idea, but it maybe got a little out of hand and it could have used somebody to kind of maybe direct that vision that he had and maybe refine it a little bit. So I would go with kind of smoothing out Jack's character a little bit.
Who would you replace with Jack if you could?
Young Matt Damon.
There you go.
No, I mean, I was actually thinking about that when we were talking before, and for some reason, De Niro popped out at me. I thought he would have been fun in that role.
Yeah, I think he was supposed to, like, they wanted him or Pacino, and they both said no.
That's interesting.
Wow.
I think De Niro went to go do The Good Shepherd.
Yeah, Good Shepherd. Yeah,
and Al Pacino just was like, no thanks.
no,
Could have been
thank you.
Christopher Walken.
All right.
This watch up my ass for 2 years.
But imagine a young Matt Damon running an older Matt Damon.
Oh my god, like, Damonception.
They're playing the parts, and it was twins. Yeah, maybe that's what it was. So yeah, speaking of that, did everyone go? Yeah, everyone went. Speaking of that, America's favorite game. We already started, but who would you replace or recast with a young, handsome, just fantastic young Matt Damon?
Overtime.
Oh, oh yeah, it's working. Overtime. The fucking tool.
What do you say?
I'll go first on this one. I would recast a young, virile, at the peak of his powers, Matt Damon, and I would put him. I'd put him in Dignam's place. I would kind of want to see how he handles that. I think that would be fun to have him as the wild Boston guy, because it's almost like I could see Will Hunting as Dignam, like that kind of attitude that he had in that. So as much as I love Wahlberg in this movie, if I got to pick somebody, I think it'd be the most fun to see Damon in that role.
Yeah. Like other than Will Hunting, because that's maybe his, for lack of a better term, like hardest role, meaning like Damon, I feel like always has a soft side or soft part to every character. Like even this character, Sullivan, he's, a rat and he's doing all these things. He's fucking killing people and whatever, but he's still like fucking soft because he's like insecure and like whatever. He's a piece of shit. I'd love to see him more like a Dignam, like just I'm a fucking hard ass and I just give everyone shit. Like that'd be great.
Yeah. He's always got some type of like redeeming qualities to him.
Yeah, either redeeming quality or some kind of just like softness. Like he's not like all edge. I mean, I'm having trouble coming up with the term, but
Yeah.
Damn, that was a good pick. I'm gonna pick a young, just super good looking, dimples all over the place, Matt Damon in Leo's role, to just see him play against himself and try to see if he can outsmart his older self. Although, no, Leo's perfect for this role, but that would be kind of funny to see. Robbie, anybody?
I'm not going to cast Matt Damon in anybody's role. I'm going to cast Matt Damon. He's going to come back. He comes back from California. He's done. He's divorced. Will Hunting comes back into the Boston Police Department.
Wow.
Working as a janitor. Wants to go back to his roots. finds a couple of papers, in the trash as he's cleaning up, and sees what's going on. He infiltrates the entire Boston Police Department. He gets a couple of people back. He gets what's his name, who won the Fitz Prize, whatever that fucking mathematician guy is. They all come back. They infiltrate the Boston Police Department from the ground up, and they take down Costello. Will Hunting comes back and takes back Costello.
Wow, I love that. I would watch a whole series on that.
And well, guess what? I just got greenlit to Netflix 10-part series.
Oh my God.
Departed reimagined.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Benny, what did you think about
That's perfect, Robbie. That was perfect.
Thank you. What do you think about the fucking stupid porn movie scene?
I thought the music was hilarious. I did kind of like, I did want to bring that scene up because I thought that was, that was fun. Like the whole power play between Damon and Costello, and then you got Leo chasing him out of there. But that porn, I don't know why people, R.I.P. Paul Rubens, but I don't know why people would go to watch that movie, because it was like some Skinemax movie from '95 that they had playing in there. There wasn't too much going on. I didn't hear any moans, no groans. It just
No
a
bad
lot
bones.
of music. Yeah, it was just a lot of music.
I don't understand. Like, why would you? What's the appeal? I guess. I don't know. I'm going to a porno and a theater and watching porn. Maybe I don't know.
I
Voyeurism?
guess
I don't know.
for
People don't
some,
have the internet like they
yeah,
do
that's what I
now.
was gonna say. For some people, maybe not in 2006, but that might have been the only access they had to porn videos.
I guess my question was more along the lines of, as well as like, what do you think about when Nicholson just whips a dildo out of nowhere?
Loved it. Oh,
Yeah,
favorite part of the movie.
that's what I'm saying. Like, I was like, come on, man. Like, like, really? This is the liberties you're taking? Just, I want to have a strap on in my own theater.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was talking about with like somebody needed to be there and be like, Jack, like, what is the purpose behind your character if this is the things that he's doing? So it was just kind of like a clown moment from him, which is, I guess, kind of shows he's trying to show that he has a sense of humor or whatever, but it just didn't really land for me.
Yeah,
I kind of liked it. I thought I'd rather see like mischievous Costello versus screaming and yelling Costello.
Yeah.
Dildo, we call him Dildo Costello. And don't you dare besmirch Paul Rubens' good name. Not in my presence.
Listen, what did you expect him to do? He was in a theater that was playing a porno. It's not like he was
exactly.
It's not like he was seeing Schindler's List. I said on Unofficial Intelligence today, like, you're mad at him for smoking in a smoking section.
I know. Yeah. Nah, they did him dirty.
Well, he was watching Schindler's Fist, but not
the list.
Get that mixed up. Yeah.
So yeah. What else? Anything else about the Departed that we want to talk about?
I just I'm really interested to watch it again. I mean, I said that at the top, but
I'm curious if you'll like it more or less or the same, I guess.
I think I'll like it more. I think I'll like it more because my where's the twist brain was working the whole time. And I was like, oh, maybe he's wrapped up too, or he's wrapped up. And it was kind of, I was thinking a couple steps ahead instead of just enjoying the movie for what it was. And maybe that's why I felt maybe a little fast paced for me, just because my brain was split between a couple of things.
Yeah. And like you said, a number of people are things going on. We didn't mention once Jimmy Baggs get his teeth knocked out by Leo. He's an informant for the Boston Police Department.
Yeah.
So like there's all these people that are just playing all those sides. Or what was his name? That wasn't Delahunt, was it? But the guy who got shot at the shootout.
Yeah, I wanted to bring that up.
And he's like, ask me why I didn't say nothing. I think it's heavily implied that he is also like one of the undercovers.
It is. It's Delahunt, because when they do the news thing about him, it says that he was a cop.
Yeah, but I think they also could have done that, like Costello says, they're saying he's a cop because they want us to think he was the rat. So I
Yeah.
mean, I know like it could go either way, I guess.
Yeah. But no, that's what I got out of it, because really what he, and it makes you think, did he told him the wrong address on purpose, you think?
Right. Was he trying to figure it out? Because they don't know. Like Queenan didn't tell him like, oh yeah, there's also this other guy, Delahunt. He's
Yeah.
also my guy. Like you would
Yeah.
never, because then you're gonna fuck things up.
Yeah. But
Imagine that
I
they
liked
both
how,
knew, and they're just like giving each other smirks and side eyes, like every time they're doing something.
Ooh, that was illegal too.
Then what?
But yeah, no, I mean, that was, I love that paid off so quickly when he says the wrong address, because I picked, not that I'm some fucking great mind, but I picked it up right away. I was like, yep, was that a mistake, or like what happened? And then boom, you get the answer like pretty straight away.
What the hell was I gonna say? I
I
forgot.
got
But yeah, that was like I gave you the wrong address. It's like, okay, but a guy just fucking flew 18,000 stories to his death, and I heard a big splat, so I ran to see what it was.
Yeah.
So
I wanted to ask, like, because I mean, I don't think anything is ever said about it, but what do you think was in the envelope that Costigan sent to Madeline? Was it more evidence of like Matt Damon? Was it him telling her like I've been in undercover for X amount of time or whatever, or both, or what? Like, what do you think was in there? It was just like his insurance policy in case shit happened.
Yeah, I think it was like his story,
Yeah.
like basically saying like, this is what I've been doing, this is what I found. Um, this is why I wrote this letter, because I probably got killed or
Right.
arrested for the wrong reason. Like him trying, like it was his insurance policy, like you said.
what? It wasn't written out to Colin.
He also sent Colin something.
Oh,
Yeah, he sent Colin the CD, but he gave Madeline an envelope with
oh, he
paper
gave
in
her
it.
this when he was in the. Oh, I didn't know when she saw it in the mail, but when he gave it to her when she was, I guess, coming out of her workplace.
Yeah.
What else? I don't know. I thought it was going to be 9.1 is great. I thought you were going to enjoy it more, but I know you enjoyed it, but I understand where you're coming from because that happens to me a lot too, where it's like, all right, it's over.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, everybody was sucking his Pishkadel, but okay. I hate that too. I hate when and it's with anything, like we say, food, music. It could be anything.
Yeah, and I always try so hard not to let the reputation affect my hand, my enjoyment of the movie. But I think I was so locked into like, I'm gonna love this movie. This is gonna be a masterpiece, that like I was just so excited and I really do think it's because like the ending and the twist happened so quick and then it's just over, that I was like, ah, fuck, like all that time and then it just ends in like over the course of 5 minutes. So
I never thought when it was the first time when you guys brought it, I never thought and any time watching that movie that Queenan could have like broke bad or was a bad person. Like I didn't even have that thought. So it's good on you. I didn't even think that.
I was just so, because I heard about like like the twists and like people being embedded from other places, that even though we got all the information that we needed up front from the movie, I thought that the twist was going to be there's more people involved. Not that, bang, 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 everybody's dead at the end of the movie, and that's like the twist. So I was like searching, I was trying to be like, I was sleuthing for clues on like, oh, who else could have been involved and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Good.
watch it again. Read Departed and come give it a 10 with your boy.
Maybe, maybe
Maybe
not.
not.
Maybe fuck
Fuck
yourself.
I mean, I would have assumed that would have been Robbie's good night. So I hopefully you got a backup in the chamber.
No, I mean we talked about it. I have a good night. We already talked
Okay.
about it, but I'm fucking saying it again.
All right, good. Any other last thoughts before we wrap up?
I'm looking forward to more Scorsese movies.
Yeah, no, definitely a good choice. I'm
None
looking
of us
forward
saw
to
the
more
Wolf of Wall
movies
Street,
in
right?
general. We all saw, yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say maybe we watch that.
Maybe we just do it to just do it.
It's up to you. Hey,
Oh,
it's our show. We can watch whatever we want.
that's a 10, by the way. So you're not gonna ask my plums.
It's a
I want to
10
watch something.
up until a certain point. I agree. But then it loses some points towards the end. For me.
It is very long, but
Yeah. No,
I
we'll watch
want
more.
I want to watch some, like we were saying. I want to watch a movie where I just fucking absolutely just scorch it for an hour and a half on this show.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I want us to get to something that I like actually hate.
Yeah. But we can't tank the votes. Like we can't put like fucking Cats and like a bunch of like garbage movies. We just
Gigli.
have to fall into a movie where people vote for it and we're just like, all right, let's do it.
Here we go.
You said Geely, Cats, Geely, and Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But the people might vote for one of those bad movies to fuck with us.
Yeah.
Probably.
I gave him a bad idea. I'll cut that out.
Cut that, cut that, cut that.
Cut. All right. Well, again, for everyone that's still with us, thank you so much for listening to our ramblings. We hope you enjoyed it. If you have anything you want to add or correct, send us an email, ltbwpodcast@gmail.com. It's in the show notes. Let us know any movies you want us to watch, anything. But we appreciate your support. And I guess, Robbie, tell them good night.
Good night, Dingham. The world needs plenty of bartenders.
2 weeks with pay.
May the wind flow through all your hairs like the wind flew through Queen's perfectly coiffed hair as he fell 15 stories.
Oh my
What a
goodness.
set.
He did. A lot of people had good hair in this movie. Think
It's a good
about
hair
it.
Shout
Yeah,
movie.
it's
out
good.
Quaffs.
Shout out, Quaff. All right. Love you.